todos, bienvenidos a esta nueva edición de Puntos de Vista de CGTN en español. Les saluda Wu Shuoyu desde Beijing. Una empresa en la ciudad de Shenzhen, nacida hace tan solo 11 años y con una plantilla cuya edad media es de menos de 30 años, se ha convertido en la empresa del sector científico-tecnológico más rápido crecimiento ha experimentado a nivel mundial. Esto gracias a su tecnología líder. Pasando de ser fabricante a líder de fabricación de drones, DJI está generando renovados contenidos para el concepto hecho en China. Y empezamos con el siguiente vídeo.
DJI ha conquistado el 70% de las cuotas del mercado mundial de drones de uso civil, principalmente en Europa y Estados Unidos. Según una reciente encuesta realizada por Reuters, de las 129 empresas en Estados Unidos que han conseguido la autorización para emplear drones, 61 están usando los productos de DJI, suponiendo el 47% del total. De las otras 695 empresas pendientes de obtener la licencia para el uso de estos aparatos, más de 400 también han optado por DJI. Genio es la primera serie de drones en el mundo que está al alcance de los consumidores de a pie y que ha logrado enormes éxitos.
Creo que lo más importante consiste en que DJI se dedica en cuerpo y alma a sus propios productos. Tenemos un lema interno. DJI depende en el 70% de sus productos y en el 30% en el marketing. Esperamos dedicar toda nuestra energía a los productos. El sector de los drones avanza propulsado por la innovación tecnológica en vez de por las medidas de marketing. Cuando conseguimos avances sustanciales en nuestra tecnología, nuestras cuotas de mercado se amplían automáticamente.
En el piso del departamento de I+D de la sede de DJI en el distrito Nanshan de la ciudad de Shenzhen hay una sola habitación con la puerta abierta. Todos los investigadores son jóvenes. Los empleados allí nos comentaron que en lo que están trabajando son todos nuevos proyectos. Hemos visto también que de forma ininterrumpida los jóvenes investigadores bajan de su piso con drones en sus manos para hacer pruebas de vuelo en el espacio que hay al lado del edificio. Los responsables de DJI nos dijeron que las valoraciones de los usuarios son la clave del mercado y DJI ha logrado desarrollar su propia tecnología independiente para fabricar un sistema de control de vuelo, drones, estabilizadores y cámaras, lo cual le permite bajar en grandes proporciones el costo de fabricación de drones integrados en comparación con los precios del mercado. En la actualidad, el precio de la nueva serie de drones profesionales de DJI ronda los 17.000 yuanes, mientras que el de los aparatos para consumidores corrientes solo oscila entre 3.000 y 5.000 yuanes.
Dentro de poco, DJI cosechará importantes progresos en materia de seguridad de vuelo de los drones, sobre todo en lo que se refiere a la seguridad física de los usuarios y la seguridad de vuelo. Es un aspecto donde existe actualmente mucha competencia tecnológica y un área prioritaria de cara al futuro.
DJI es líder mundial en la investigación y fabricación del sistema de control y planes de solución de aparatos aeronáuticos no tripulados, drones, y sus clientes se encuentran en más de 100 países del mundo. Según dicen, Bill Gates compró su primer iPhone para poder usar un dron fabricado por DJI. Aunque se trata de una anécdota cuya autenticidad es difícil de verificar, pone en evidencia hasta cierto punto el poderoso ímpetu de avance de los aparatos aeronáuticos no tripulados y de DJI. Aprovechando la ocasión, los corresponsales de CGTN en español y de CGTN América realizaron una entrevista conjunta a Kevin On, director asociado de comunicación de DJI para la región Asia-Pacífico.
Our founder started, he had a great interest in helicopters, so he started playing with flight controllers. He wanted to make flight really stable, because in the beginning, when people were playing RC helicopters, it was really hard to control because the flight wasn't really stable. So he started looking into that and trying to make flight stable. After that, he looked at quadcopters and how this same technology could actually make quadcopters work. So we kind of transitioned from the enthusiast, the remote control helicopter, into the quadcopters. And then thereafter, we came out with our first, what we call out-of-the-box, ready-to-fly consumer product, which was the Phantom 1. So really, it really took a few minutes just to power it up, charge up the battery, and get it off into the air. So we want to make it easy for people to actually enjoy flight. That was that was the main purpose. And then when we had the aircraft in the air, we also wanted to add, what would it be like if we could actually see what the craft was seeing, and have a different perspective of the world. So we added a camera to allow people to see this. Thereafter, we thought, having more stable footage was really important because audiences don't like shaky footages. So we, fine-tuned the camera and also add a gimbal. And eventually, it became what the drones you see today, which is our Phantom 3, Phantom 4, even our Inspire 1. So we've come a long way in this 10 years from the first flight controller to the craft itself, to the camera and then the gimbal, and now even all the algorithms and the programming that makes this drone actually work and fly very safely. And from there, we thought about, other than aerial, are there other ways that people could actually get stable footage and very high quality footage? So, we took the same gimbal technology and then we put it on a handheld device so that even consumers like you and I could, have this handheld device, put on their smartphone and shoot really smooth, high quality cinematic footage. So, we're always thinking about different ways of how the technology could evolve and be used differently by different people or different industries and businesses. What we found was Shenzhen was, becoming a hub for talents where engineers from different cities are coming in and to want to create new ideas and actually bring new ideas to life. This really enables us to move quickly and be ahead of the market. And this is one of the reasons. And if we're talking about talent, as I mentioned earlier, people are now looking towards, DJI or even Shenzhen as a place where they could maybe start their career in engineering or in programming or in software development. So it's been an interesting change for us. And we also have our first flagship store, which is now in Shenzhen. We launched in late 2015. So, Shenzhen is a very significant place where we started, but we've branched out internationally now into 17 offices around the world. We have about 6,000 plus staff around the world. Our customers are in over 100 countries. So we've come a long way and we've worked really hard. If we look at the growth from 2011, this is when we first had our out-of-the-box, ready-to-fly kind of drone selling to our customers. Until 2015, this 5-year period, our growth has kind of doubled in size. So this is at least what we know. I mean, the industry is very large. There's different brands. So to get a bigger picture of this, we're using our own growth as an indicator. We've kind of doubled in the in the past 5 years. So this is tremendous growth. But if we're looking at 2016 and beyond, we're now seeing a lot of the ecosystem, is what we call it, being built up. We started doing hardware, but for DJI, we're now looking into how businesses can actually benefit from using this technology. And we've looked at 5 key potential areas where we see worldwide that this technology could be used or adopted. The first one is cinematography. This is quite common now because if you look at Hollywood filmmaking, content creation, even broadcasts, UAV is creating a huge impact in this area. Another area is agriculture, and this is specifically true, for example, in places like Malaysia or in China or even Japan, where agriculture is a good portion of the GDP. And there's a lot of farmlands and where UAV could be used to enable the farmer to either spray pesticides or identify problems in their field very quickly and make decisions. Number 3 is the construction and infrastructure. So if we're looking at any market, we're building new buildings, we're making bridges, and it's really helping us to understand the progress of our work and maybe even giving us very precise data on what we need to do on a construction site or the progress of the bridge or maybe estimating what kind of raw materials we need. So that's construction and infrastructure. And the fourth one is inspection, especially for the energy sector. If we look at wind turbines, oil pipelines, or even power lines, to have somebody go and walk along and really monitor each area, that would take a tremendous amount of time and effort to get data or to fix a leak. in a pipe, or understanding the power line, there's a broken power line, or there's a crack in the building. But using UAV technology, you're able to get that aerial image very quickly, and then really go and address that problem. And number 5, emergency response. So this includes things like firefighting, search and rescue, or even providing medical aid. So this is what we call the drones for good. So what could drones do to actually do good for people, to save lives? So drones could actually bridge the gap between the time it's taken for us to find survivors in a disaster area, or getting medical help or water to people who are stranded, or accessing area where we can't access by car.
¿Cuál es la clave que ha permitido a DJI pasar en tan solo una década de ser una empresa abierta por jóvenes emprendedores a convertirse en el líder indiscutible en el sector de los aparatos aeronáuticos no tripulados? ¿Cuáles son las diferencias y las ventajas competitivas de DJI respecto a otras empresas en el mismo sector?
I think one thing is timing. I think definitely we started the business in the very right time. Number 2, as I said, is the talent. Being in Shenzhen and able to absorb all the talent, and having 17 different offices, the synergy with our R&D guys, the innovation guys, that's important. And the third point is really I think it's our mentality and kind of our philosophy, or the way we do things. Something that our CEO always says is, good enough is not good enough. Think about how what we're doing or what we've developed, how can that be used for something else, or a different industry, or in a different way. So I think that's what's kind of pushing us, and I think this is a good example. As I said, we started with flight controller, we moved into creating a quadcopter, and then the gimbal system, or the stabilization system. And then our engineers thought, how could the stabilization could be used in other ways? Then we took that into what we have now for the professional filmmaking, into the Ronin series, where you could attach, big cameras on the ground that stabilizes footage, and then taking the same gimbal system onto the camera. So it's kind of that thinking, I think, that gets us to lead and push ourselves into thinking is what next, what else, what can be better. So I think, Chinese companies are in a very competitive position. We've seen, we're based in Shenzhen. We've seen a lot of new companies there. Even in the same building that we in our office, we've seen new startups. So we're seeing a lot of bright talent. Whether this is fueled by local talent or other talent coming into Shenzhen, I think it's a mix of both. So like you said, at CES we have the UAV section has probably about 10 other different companies, or some of them are startups. Some of them are doing underwater drones. Some of them are aerial drones. Some of them are carbon fiber planes. So you're seeing a lot of ideas and innovation coming out of the UAV industry. It's actually having more talent and companies joining. It's a healthy development, because the more ideas that come out of it, it actually pushes everybody harder to think about what else and what else could be done, or how it can be used. And we are a Chinese company. We're very proud of that, becoming an international brand, and kind of leading the way for other Chinese company and working together. Each company, it's unique in its own. I think what's special about us is that our technology is very new. I think there's a lot of room for people to kind of understand that, how it could be used, and it's becoming very personal, whether it's for recreation or for their work. And as the leader in the industry, we're doing a lot of the education and inspiration on how this could be used by the end user, or how this could inspire them. So it's more a collaborative process, I would say. We're creating great tools for people to tell stories, to give them a different perspective, but we're also hearing our customers telling us how they're using this in ways we've never imagined. So it's interesting. We're working with our customers together to kind of pave the way for the future for UAV, and this is a very